He really deserves to be in a three-way with these two superstars, and it would make perfect sense if CM Punk was involved in this feud. It would give us a feeling of reprieve, and it would make perfect sense of the 2011 promo, one of the best conclusions of a Raw since the Attitude Era that I referenced in a past column for In This Corner with Jonathan Clarke. CM Punk said that Dwayne Johnson being in the WrestleMania 28 main event, as opposed to someone like CM Punk and some of the top new talent superstars, made him sick. He even referenced Brock Lesnar leaving the WWE for the UFC and a football career, which never panned out the way Brock Lesnar wanted it to. It would be pretty cool if CM Punk was in this match and CM Punk came out of it as the WWE Champion, and a few months after WrestleMania, because of how he referred to Brock Lesnar so negatively in his 2011 promo, referring to Brock Lesnar as a guy who took his ball and went home. If we saw CM Punk defend the WWE Championship against Brock Lesnar, Brock Lesnar sits on a throne of dominance for about 7 or 8 months. The Rock returns for WrestleMania 30, and then we have The Rock facing Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship for the first time in over a decade. It would make perfect sense if that match were to come into fruition for an event as big as WrestleMania 30. And there was a tweet apparently sent out by Paul Heyman's Twitter account where Paul Heyman referenced a challenge that he had for The Rock at WrestleMania 30. Basically, Paul Heyman, representing several of his clients, challenged The Rock to a match at WrestleMania, and it would make perfect sense if Brock Lesnar were in a position of dominance for 7 or 8 months. The Rock is gone from WWE with a leave of absence to promote things outside of the business like a movie, and The Rock comes back after being challenged by Brock Lesnar to regain the WWE Championship in a feud and rivalry other than a feud with John Cena, which has really been prolonged, if anything. Which brings me back to what I initially said. The Rock and John Cena's first encounter, their inaugural match, was that good. So many near falls, so many close calls for both individuals, and the epic conclusion where The Rock lifted John Cena in the year after John Cena attempted the People's Elbow, a mistake that he will not make twice, ladies and gentlemen. That mistake will not come twice. The part of John Cena this year at WrestleMania, when he lifted John Cena up after John Cena attempted the People's Elbow. What an epic conclusion to this match. It's an image that's been withstood in my mind for the last year, and I'm sure the minds of a lot of wrestling fans, which makes this sequel that much more highly anticipated. It was the most obvious WrestleMania match you could have had this year for the WWE title, and with WrestleMania's history of sequels over the last half of a decade, it was pretty obvious this match was going to happen. I was just hoping for a bit of a reprieve from what we had originally been seeing. We saw the last 4 years The Undertaker pretty much having the same opponent between Triple H and Shawn Michaels for years. Why didn't they change it up and have a three-way at WrestleMania 28 last year when fans were chanting Triple Threat? And I'm sure a lot of wrestling fans would love to see a triple threat between Cena, Rock, and Punk for the WWE Championship, because it would be a match that would be talked about and referred back to as one of the greatest WrestleMania matches of all time. If it were a piece of footage for YouTube, it would be a match that would be downloaded about 1 million times, and if it were offered on pay-per-view or free television, it would be one of the most highly rated WWE programs or pay-per-view offerings of all time. You take how good a match between John Cena and CM Punk has been. That series has been one of my all-time favorite series over the past number of years, and I think nothing will ever come close to how good CM Punk and John Cena matches were, because these two superstars could work so evidently well in a match and get people talking, especially those on social media. Promoting the Twitter accounts in the Raw graphic last night was a great way to boost Twitter followers for both of these individuals, especially with The Rock having some of the most Twitter followers out of any WWE superstar. I think it's incredible how John Cena and CM Punk can make a main event work that has so much significance, and I think wrestling fans will be talking about this one for weeks to come. If you were to have John Cena facing CM Punk at this year's WrestleMania, leaving The Rock out of it, I think WrestleMania would get just as many buys as if you were to have John Cena facing The Rock in this sequel. If CM Punk does not have a position at WrestleMania, and let's say he quits WWE over the next few weeks, with how impressive CM Punk has been, especially over the last 450 days, significantly, I think that if he's left out of WrestleMania and doesn't have a position, I think that will be a great deal of injustice. And with CM Punk referring to himself as an individual who consistently is getting screwed in WWE, I think he will be getting screwed if he's not involved at WrestleMania in some capacity. So I hope, if not with John Cena and The Rock in the WWE title match this year, I hope he's involved in a program with someone that can make CM Punk look as infamous as he's been over the last 440 days. I hope that he doesn't suffer the same fate as King Kong Bundy, who went from the main event of WrestleMania 2 to the WrestleMania 3 mid-card matches in a match with Hillbilly Jim. I hope he doesn't go from a WrestleMania main eventer to a WrestleMania mid-carder. That would be the absolute worst fate for CM Punk to take on his road to WrestleMania. I hope that he has an opponent that is equally as impressive as John Cena and The Rock, but I still hold the belief that we will either see John Cena, The Rock, and CM Punk for the first time ever of the meeting of these superstars at WrestleMania, either at WrestleMania or after WrestleMania at some point, either leading up to WrestleMania or in the WrestleMania fallout. We will see a three-way between these three superstars. You can't go wrong in a three-way with these three superstars with how dominant The Rock has been, not losing a match since his return in 2011. He's had about 3 to 4 matches since his return. He's won every single one of them. His record has gone unblemished since his return, and CM Punk and John Cena has pretty much been promoting rivalries in the WWE in the absence of The Rock. You take a look at the John Cena CM Punk series, the Booker T Chris Benoit series over the United States Championship in WCW and the WWE was an impressive series, and I think that John Cena and CM Punk series is far more impressive than even that, and that says a lot with how good CM Punk and John Cena can go and how far they can go in a rivalry. So you take the impressive rivalry, this series that they've had over the past number of months, over the last year, and you put it in a match at WrestleMania. You throw The Rock in there with a little bit of history with The Rock and CM Punk and Rock and John Cena's extensive history over the last 2 years, and you have a WrestleMania main event that could be the greatest WrestleMania main event of all time, making it the definition of WrestleMania. You know, WrestleMania is defined by passion. WrestleMania is defined by pure wrestling. I've always believed that as a radio show host for over 14 years and a columnist. I've always written and talked about how WrestleMania is defined by critical elements, and I think that one of the most critical elements that you need to have to make WrestleMania be a success and to obtain over 1 million buys is pure wrestling. And I think this would be a pure wrestling match and a match for the ages if it were to happen. It's an ultimate WrestleMania dream match. It's a far cry from The Rock facing Bret Hart or The Undertaker facing John Cena. But it is a match that will have a lot of pure wrestling, and it is a match that fans will remember and have images will still in their minds from for many years to come. John Cena facing The Rock at WrestleMania 28. I will give it the benefit of the doubt because of the storyline that went along with the match and how great the match was with so many near falls, just as many near falls in this match as Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels' Iron Man Classic from WrestleMania 12 in Anaheim, California. I will be talking about this match until I'm about 80 to 85 years of age, somewhere within that demographic, if I make it to that, because of how incredible the match was and the perseverance and dedication of both of these athletes. Tremendous work ethic exemplified in that match, and CM Punk promoting the WWE as champion, successfully defending his title against Chris Jericho, one of the best pure WrestleMania matches I have seen in years, just as good as Hart versus Michaels or Bret Hart versus Owen Hart from WrestleMania 10 and WrestleMania 12. CM Punk was champion then, and he could have been champion this year at WrestleMania 29. Now that's not saying that CM Punk won't somehow find a way in to the WrestleMania main event and regain the title, making it one of the greatest WrestleManias of all time and one of the biggest moments of CM Punk's career. They did it for Chris Jericho, defeating The Rock and Austin in back-to-back matches to determine the first ever undisputed champion, and they could go as far as that to make CM Punk one of the biggest superstars of the new talent initiative. The fact was they needed something just as impressive as The Rock's career for CM Punk to face The Rock in a match, because they knew they were going to give The Rock the WWE Championship, and The Rock was part of the reason why CM Punk had his championship reign prolonged. They took advantage of that because the second half of CM Punk's reign as a WWE Champion saw him become one of the most infamous and hated heels in the business. And I've always believed that a business cannot exist without an equal number of faces and an equal number of heels. Without that equally distributed down the middle, a professional wrestling business cannot exist. I've always believed that as a radio host and columnist over the last 14 years. And that is a statement, ladies and gentlemen, that has reigned true through the ages and will continue to reign true for many years to come, long after you and I are gone from this life. So I think that with all that coming into fruition, I think that this year's WrestleMania can work if you book it correctly. And booking it incorrectly would be missing out on an incredible opportunity that's in front of you to have John Cena facing CM Punk and The Rock in the same match. What better way to have John Cena regain the championship for the first time in about 2.5 years than by having him have to overcome two of the most difficult obstacles he's ever been faced with in his career, both The Rock and CM Punk in the same match. And if you drop the ball on this opportunity, I'll lose an incredible amount of faith for WWE over the next few years. We know The Rock has been re-signed for WrestleMania 30, and we know Brock Lesnar and other legends will have a significant involvement with WrestleMania 30 next year, so you can use WrestleMania 29, if anything, as a promotional form, kind of like how you used WrestleMania 27 to promote the inaugural encounter between Cena and The Rock for the once-in-a-lifetime match. The biggest problem that I have with John Cena and The Rock twice in a lifetime is the fact that promoting the first match as once in a lifetime, this is really defeating its purpose of the inaugural encounter. So I don't even know why they went with that tagline. That's the biggest upset about this rivalry. I'm not anticipating this sequel to be as good as the first one, because oftentimes sequels to first encounters are not really as impressive. Far cries, if anything, from their inaugural encounters. The end of an era match had to be good, so they threw in the Hell in a Cell to repeat history between Triple H and The Undertaker for the third time. There were rumors about a fourth encounter. I saw no point in all of having that match, but they threw in the Hell in a Cell. It had to be good. Sometimes exceptions are made with sequels, and the Triple H Undertaker Hell in a Cell match from last year's WrestleMania with Shawn Michaels as the referee was not only an incredible display of athletic ability, but it was also an incredible display of passion and respect between three of the biggest icons in professional wrestling who have paid their dues for years and sacrificed years of their life for wrestling fans they'll never get back. The end of an era match, I consistently have put it over as one of the greatest WrestleMania matches of all time because of the respect that was shown for legends that made it possible for people such as John Cena, Randy Orton, and CM Punk to perform in the WWE WrestleMania 28